Good morning, everyone. Really nice to be here. Yeah, I'm Milow, founder and CTO of Alteva. And today, as mentioned, I'm going to talk about the future of batteries and why sulfur batteries will dominate that future. I founded Alteva because I believe we can build a great future for us here in Europe, but also for the world. Really a future where we can live sustainably and create great places to live. It's very evident that one of the most important technologies to enable such a future are actually batteries. So we already use them in all kinds of applications, starting from electric vehicles and electric bikes, but even some boats are powered by batteries now. We use them to stabilize the energy grid with more and more renewables in it. We use them as home energy storage systems and also in all kinds of small devices we use in our everyday life, like the phones we all have in our pocket. So batteries really already are everywhere, and they're going to just become more important in the future. But when I think about the current state of the battery industry here in Europe, it's not looking so bright. So we have a couple of companies who try to scale production, basically copying what has been done in China over the past 20 years and trying to scale production immediately. And turns out it's really difficult to do that. So maybe we have to take a step back and consider again what are the fundamental technologies we're actually trying to scale here. Because for the current lithium-ion batteries, which are the most dominant batteries that we use for all these kinds of applications, actually there are a couple of chemistries very dominant. One of them is NMC batteries. Those are based on nickel, manganese, and cobalt materials. And LFP batteries, those are based on lithium iron phosphates. And even when we think about the challenges we have with these batteries, we can already start with those materials actually. We need to take them out of the ground somehow to build the batteries from them. That means we need a lot of mining for the batteries. Mining always comes with a couple of drawbacks. The first one being around the environment. Like the environment surrounding mining areas will be depleted. And that's not a great area to look at actually. And at the same time, especially when thinking about battery materials, we also have a lot of human rights abuse issues. For example, with the cobalt mining in Congo. And let's say that's not something I want to see in the future I'm trying to build. Now, also thinking about the next steps. We have taken the materials out of the ground and they're processed. Right now, more than 90% of this processing takes place in China. So we have this huge dependency on one single country. And it doesn't stop just at the materials processing. It's the same for the battery cell production. Again, more than 90% of that is done in China. So this huge dependency for the whole world and us here in Europe really isn't great. In the past, it hasn't always worked out so well when we were dependent like that on one single country. So again, something we should strive to change in the future. Now, I've talked a lot about the challenges and around the materials and also the supply chain. But it's also quite obvious we're going to need batteries in order to enable a sustainable future. And starting with transportation, actually, it works kind of well already when we look at cars. But for a truly, completely sustainable future, we also have a lot of other applications that we still need to electrify. For example, looking at planes, trucks, or also heavy machinery in agriculture and mining. All of these also need to be electrified. And they all have the same problem in common. That is, current batteries are still way too heavy to do that. It's just not possible to fly an electric plane with batteries right now if you replace the current technologies there. So we need new technologies to enable that. And also thinking about safety. I'm pretty sure you've heard of some of the headlines going around battery fires right now. It's not a pretty thing to look at, and battery fires actually are very severe. That is because batteries are nearly impossible to extinguish once they start burning. So it can take a very long time for such a battery to burn completely down. And that poses a great safety risk also. That might be something that is acceptable when looking at electric cars, because you can drive out to the side and just get out of the car. But now imagine sitting in an electric plane and the battery starts burning mid-of-flight. That's just a safety risk that is not acceptable. So there again, we need improvements in the technology to enable that. So now I've talked a lot about the problems we see around current battery technology. But what would an ideal battery actually look like? Looking back at what I talked about, the materials should be very available, ideally locally available. there should be no mining necessary to take them out of the ground. Ideally, they would also be cheap, and they shouldn't be toxic to the environment. And the batteries we build from those materials should be very lightweight, much lighter than current lithium-ion batteries, and they should be safe. It kind of sounds too good to be true, but we actually have a technology that can deliver just that, and that are lithium-sulfur batteries. They work by replacing these NMC and LFP materials by a sulfur composite. So we have this combination of lithium and sulfur. And that enables a wide range of advantages, starting with weight. Actually, if we simply look at the periodic table of elements and try to choose the best elements to build a battery from, you would choose lithium and sulfur. They make the lightest batteries possible with solid materials. They only weigh 1/3 of current lithium-ion batteries, and that means they can enable all these kinds of applications that I talked about. I could have gotten here to this conference from Germany on an electric plane without any emissions, and that really is a future I would look forward to. At the same time, also thinking about safety. The problem we have with current lithium-ion batteries, why they burn so heavily, is that they contain a lot of oxygen. The lithium and oxygen in the cell react very heavily, releasing a lot of heat and energy, leading to these severe fires. In sulfur batteries, we actually don't have any oxygen in the cell, and that makes one hell of a difference. We have here this experiment. On the right side, you see a lithium cobalt oxide battery. It's a very common lithium-ion battery, actually very common in the phones, so you might as well have one in your pocket right now. And on the left side, you see a lithium sulfur battery. If we now poke a nail through that, this is what it looks like after 2 seconds. And after 15 seconds, you can really see the difference. So you can choose for yourself what kind of battery you would like to have in your pocket right now. Now, coming back to the materials. Sulfur has the huge advantage that it's actually a waste product in a lot of industries. So there's a lot of sulfur available in the world. There's no mining necessary to take it out of the ground. Actually, it's also part of a lot of biological processes, which means it's not toxic and it's not harmful to the environment. Sulfur is so abundant, it's actually the 5th most common element on Earth, that it really is available everywhere. And that includes here in Europe. For us here in Europe, the sulfur batteries actually present a unique opportunity to build a local supply chain to build those batteries. All the materials we need for lithium sulfur batteries are available here in Europe. We are not dependent on any third countries if we focus on this technology and scale up the supply chains. And that really, this unique opportunity is something we should dive into and really make happen. And that's what we try to do at Alteva. We have developed the technology around these lithium-sulfur batteries, and they work well. We are now starting to scale production and really want to build batteries from Europe for Europe to enable that future that I want to live in, where we fly around in electric planes and have electric trucks driving around, and those batteries will enable all kinds of applications we might not even be able to think about right now. So let's really make that happen together. We also have a booth in front, so I'm looking forward to talking to a lot of people. Thank you.